Hey guys, welcome back. Today is another planting day and I just picked up the most beautiful bundle of coneflowers, also known as Echinacea, that I am so excited to get into our garden. We need some more fall perennials that are going to provide color for us all the way through fall. So I picked up some beautiful ones that were on sale at Farmington Gardens, where we were just at looking for some trees. So anyways, I want to show you the varieties that I picked out. We're going to walk around the garden and see where we should be planting these. I kind of have a little bit of an idea where I want them, but I'm excited because I've been having such a love affair with these flowers, especially in the last year. So I'm excited to get more into our garden. Here are all of the beautiful varieties that we're going to be planting today in the garden. I am so excited for all of these colors, especially these peachy ones are probably like my favorite color tone. And there's some like pink and peachy ones here. These are probably my favorite right now. But we just have a lot of beautiful varieties to get into the ground. I think these are going to bring a lot of color and interest in our landscape, which I'm so excited about. Now, before we get into these varieties, I want to talk to you about why I want to add these flowers into our garden. One, it has really great medicinal use. The pollinators love these flowers. I constantly see the bumblebees and the butterflies going after these. And that is one thing I love about our garden is, and what I try to do a lot in our garden is try to plant things that are going to attract a lot of pollinators, not just bees, but I want a variety of different pollinators that want to visit our garden or stay in our garden as much as I can. So these I know are going to attract even more butterflies, which I love. They also are drought tolerant once they get established, and they're not very picky about their soil type. They want a well-drained soil, but we have clay here, and I know these perform very well for us in this area. A lot of different gardens around here have these flowers. Now, if you can get native varieties to your area, those are going to be the best. They're not going to require any fertilizing. You're just gonna plant them and they're just gonna go to town for you. They're not going to require a lot of maintenance at all. These don't require a lot of maintenance, but we'll talk about maintenance once we get them planted. But the other thing that I love about them is that they are such a workhorse in the garden. They are going to provide color for you from summer all the way into fall, which is something that we desperately need, especially with perennials. I have a lot of annuals in the garden, mainly cut flowers right now that provide a lot of color, but I want to start focusing on different types of perennials that will get bigger or spread or self-seed. And finally, one of the biggest reasons why I want these in our garden is because they are an amazing cut flower. They have such a long vase life. I love their disc shape. They're a perfect disc flower. And they're just so interesting in an arrangement. I love using these in fall arrangements, but I always find myself trying to buy them from florists. And I think, why am I going to spend money buying them when I can grow them myself? So it was a no-brainer that I needed to add these into our garden immediately. Some of the features that I love about these flowers is, again, they're just that perfect disc flower. As you can see here, you can find a lot of bicolored, you can find the doubles. You can find these guys that almost look like a cupcake. They're just so beautiful. And I love their spearheaded shape leaves. I think these are very interesting. They're very thick, they're very tough. And their stems are also very interesting and very tough, especially these ones where we have these dark purple stems. Some of them have green stems, but they're speckled, like this one right over here. Look at how cool that is. I just love when the flower not only looks good up top, but the rest of it is also beautiful and adds interest into your landscape. Now, one of the cool things about these flowers that I think make them that cool girl it flower right now is there's just so many varieties. In the last couple of decades, there have been so many new introductions into the market, and they were all bred from native Echinacea, so they still have all of those great features, but they come in so many colors. So if you're somebody who doesn't like the warmer tones, or you don't like yellow or white or peach, then you can go into the pink side or the red side, and vice versa. If you want softer tones and more muted tones, then there's the color for you. A couple of the varieties that we got today are from the Sunseeker series. I don't know too much about that one, but I've been seeing this series pop up a lot in different garden centers. So keep an eye out for those because they have a very beautiful structure. They are very hardy, and there's just so many different colors. I'm just like, I'm shocked at how many different colors that I saw at the nursery. And I just don't think, these are kind of like those flowers that they're not going anywhere. And I think we're going to see more and more of these being planted throughout landscapes, even in formal gardens, because of the color variations. I think there's just so much to play with. And I'm really excited to have more in our garden. Before we start planting, let me show you all of the beautiful varieties that we got. So the first one here, we have Green Twister, and just look at that bicolor on this one. It's just so pretty. It looks like a painting. That transition from that pink to the green is so stunning. And this one, let's see, this one gets 3 to 4 feet tall. Oh wow, this gets tall. Okay. And 1 to 2 feet wide, and it's hardy down to zone 3, which is incredible. Love this one. The other one that I got, this is probably one of my favorites. They're not blooming right now, which I'm really bummed about, but if you go search this variety and look at pictures of it, it's stunning. It's stunning. I think you can find some pictures on Monrovia's website, but these are so beautiful. These are the Sunseekers Pumpkin Pie. And these tend to stay a little bit smaller, so 20 to 24 inches tall by 16 to 20 inches wide, and they're hardy down to zone 5. This one is really pretty. Look at this. Come on, that just looks like an ice cream cone. That just makes me want to lick it, but I'm not going to. But it definitely gives me that popsicle ice cream cone, or what do you call it? A cupcake vibe. And these are the double scoop bubble gum. And let's see, these get 22 to 24 inches tall and 18 to 20 inches wide. And these are hardy down to a zone 4. I like those. Those are very bright. One of my favorite ones back here, this is the cantaloupe. Look at how pretty that color is. And they start out kind of strong like this, and then once they age, they fade just a little bit, and they look like this, and they get more open. And again, that one is the Supreme Cantaloupe, and this one gets 2 to 3 feet tall, 1 to 2 feet wide. So a nice tall one to tuck away somewhere. This one, okay, this is the double scoop watermelon. That's really bright. I love that. This one is again 22 inches, or 22 to 24 inches tall, 18 to 20 inches wide, and these are hardy down to zone 4. I need to remember to keep these plant tags because I know myself, I will forget. This one is Sweet Sandia. This is also like a bicolored. This is similar to this one right here, the Green Twister. However, do you see how this one is just a lot thinner, a little bit more open, versus this one is a little bit more tight? Now these are faded, so we're not seeing that color variation that we do right when they start blooming, but that's okay. You can see how well they age. And this one gets 19 to 24 inches tall and 16 to 18 wide, hardy down to zone 4. And then lastly, probably my favorite one over here. I want to see one where you can see all 3 colors. Maybe right here is good. This one is the Sunseekers Rainbow, and this one gets 20 to 24 inches tall and 16 to 20 inches wide. And what I love about this, it starts out kind of orangey, but it also has that beautiful pinky hues to it. Just look at how stunning that is. So this is in the beginning. This is how they start to age. This one is really faded. But just look at how beautiful that contrast is between a new bloom and an old bloom. That is so stunning. So today all I'm going to need is my little auger. I don't have a bigger one. I only have the big one and this little bulb one, but it will work to start the holes. I'm going to use Biotone for all of the holes. And then I picked up 3 of each variety with the exception of the cantaloupe. I picked up 6 of those. And then I picked up 5 pumpkin pie. So I'm gonna walk around, see where I think they belong, and then we will get them all planted. Here is where we're at, starting over here. So we planted this drift of the 5 pumpkin pie. My thought process behind planting over here is that these 3 back here are dahlias. These are cuttings that I took, they're cafe au lait, so these will die back. I don't plan on putting dahlias over there. And I have a peony right back there. These will fill in nicely. And if I want, I can maybe tuck in something right behind them, but this Vanderwolf will probably, I'll let it branch out a little bit more. So this will just be a nice little swoop of them right over here. They don't look impressive right now because there's no color to them, but once we do a garden tour, I hope that these are blooming for you guys so you can see just how beautiful they are. This peony over here, it's a white one, and it kind of dies back after springtime. So there's just that green foliage back there. So I think having something over here that will start blooming in the summertime and carry us over into the fall, that'll still give us an opportunity to do some annuals back in over here. And there's still a lot of planting space over here. I think these will really tie everything in together nicely. Now back here in front of our very sad sweet peas that are ready to be done for the season, I planted the green twister. Now these are probably the ones that get the tallest out of all of them. I believe we said it was about 3 to 4 feet tall. So these will be a nice structure and vertical interest back here with flowers. I'm excited about that. Same thing over here. There are some dahlias. There are some self-seeded cosmos that I just left because I love when things self-seed. I think it just, it's so fun to see where things just pop out. So I like these back here. In this area, I broke up the cantaloupe. This is one of our fig trees. This needs to get pruned. I was just waiting for the figs to ripen so I can prune this back or stake it up. Right under here, I just have some celosia planted around it. I had extra seedlings, so I planted them in there. This is, again, going to go away. So I think the cantaloupe will look nice over here. These also will fill in, and then instead of planting them together, I broke them up, but I kept them in the same area. So they'll tie in together nicely once they're nice and full. Again, more dahlias. We have one cantaloupe here, one over here, and then one tucked right back there between or by another peony. And on the side over here, let me show you guys, I have zinnias. These are some of Florette's zinnias. Again, more seedlings that I had left over, so I plop these into the landscape, but these will all go away, so this area is nice and empty. And then in front here, we planted the rainbow variety, which I just absolutely love. And will you look at that? The bees are already going for them. Didn't I tell you these are a bee magnet? Look at that. Not even 10 minutes after planting and they're already going for it. And once we bring in the compost that we use as mulch back here, everything is just going to look nice and neat and tidy. Right over here, right by our Allen Wick rose, I planted the watermelon. And actually, these are probably the ones I'm most excited about. It's probably because they pack such a rich and fun color immediately. So it's like that immediate satisfaction. There's no waiting. It's just boom, it's right there. I love this trio. This tree right here is a lollipop crabapple, and in the springtime it has the most beautiful little delicate flowers, and in the fall time these little berries will all turn into like a pink, reddish, orange little berry. So I think that color combination is going to look so pretty. Again, more bee activity going on, and I just love the way this turned out. Again, with the Allen Wick, the buds start out kind of a deep pink, similar to this watermelon Echinacea, and then they bloom into a light pink. And then you have the pink over here with some of the orange and the creamy peaches off of these zinnias. I just think this little area looks so soft and girly. I just love how this space turned out. Again, with that mulch, it's just going to make everything pop even more. And back here we planted the Sandia variety, which I love for this space. I like how there's a little bit of that deep purple that kind of plays on the red bud. I like how it's not taking away too much attention from the coral bark maple, but it is adding some interest down here. So your eye is not just focused now on the maple, but it's drawing your eyes of what's going on down here. And my friend Kate always says that trees need shoes, and I think these are the perfect shoes for this maple. And I also love how it plays off some of the other things that we have going on here. We have scabiosa in the back kind of peeking out from this area over here, and those will die back, but definitely want to repeat some more of these scabiosa next year. And then the zinnias here, I might not repeat these over here next year, maybe some more perennials in this back area. But if I look from this area, this also just looks so beautiful. I love the coolness that these brought into this space. I still have 3 cantaloupe and 3 of the double bubblegum. And now here's my thought process. I didn't plant these yet, but I'm gonna sit with it for a minute. I thought about planting them in this area. However, we still have this big tree over here that is blocking the sun. That might come down. I'm not sure yet. The neighbors haven't told us definitively if they're going to take it down or not. But if they are, that kind of changes the sun that we get back here. The other idea was I want to pull out these celosia because they're not really doing much and plant maybe the double bubblegum right back here, and maybe space out the cantaloupe throughout back here. So this is spot number 1. Spot number 2 would be right back here behind the cut flower garden behind our celosia bed. And this zinnia will die back. That one was just that self-seeded and I plopped it over there. We have more of the dahlias back here, so if we remove them, it'll be a nice trio of either one that we still have left to plant. And lastly is this area over here. Again, behind the cut flower garden, behind the olive tree, we can do something right over here. It does get a little bit of shade, dappled sun in the afternoon, but I still think that they would do okay. Again, these do love full sun, so they'll still bloom, but they might not bloom as much as the other ones. Now, as far as maintenance go, like I mentioned, they're pretty hands-off. They don't require a lot of your attention, which is fantastic. I love a low maintenance plant, especially a beautiful one. In the springtime, I may come in with a little bit of flower tone and just sprinkle it around the base of each plant just to kind of get them going in the springtime. They'll start blooming for us in the summertime, and around midsummer is when you can deadhead them. Some of them don't require deadheading. A lot of them you don't have to deadhead. But what deadheading does is it triggers the plant to start putting on a new flush of flowers. So around July, is typically when I would deadhead mine, and then they'll start putting on a new growth that will carry us over into fall. If you don't deadhead, that's completely fine. A lot of varieties will just continue blooming and they'll hold on to that bloom for a really long time. However, I found in my experience, if I deadhead them early enough, I'll get a new flush of blooms that carries me over into fall time. If I leave them without deadheading them around midsummer, I do see them starting to fade and they'll start setting seed a lot quicker. Now, the other great thing about the Echinacea, not only do they give you so much color, they attract the pollinators, but if you leave them in the winter time, they're going to provide seed for the birds. So I don't cut mine back in the fall time. I let them go until they look really crummy and their leaves are pretty much died back. There's nothing left on the seed heads. Then that's when I like to cut mine down. But for the most part, I just let them go all winter long. A lot of times if birds don't get to it, it still provides that skeleton, that structure in the garden. So it's something pretty to look at in my opinion. But if the birds do get to them, then I go ahead and I clean them back. Anyways, I hope seeing me plant these new Echinacea in my garden inspires you to want to plant Echinacea in your garden, or you might already have some, but maybe you saw a new variety that you want to add. I just feel very lucky to have them in my garden. I'm excited that I get to enjoy them, the bees get to enjoy them, the birds get to enjoy them, the butterfly gets to enjoy them, and they just look so beautiful. I definitely want to get more for the front. I think maybe some white ones will be really beautiful over there because we like to keep the colors a little bit more muted and soft in the front landscape. But either way, I definitely want to add more. Let me know what you guys think about the placement of the other 2 varieties, where we should plant those. And yeah, thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today in my garden, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.